I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. My name is Terry Holcomb. I am the Executive Director of Texas Carry. And tonight we're going to look at what was a historical legislative session, not just for gun rights, but for the Second Amendment overall. Yes, open carry took the air out of a lot of the balloons up at the Capitol this session, but a lot of other good things happened as well. I'm very excited to see law enforcement in here and the county attorney. Yes, because some of this impacts local government, and so we're very excited to see that showing here. After each section, I'll take questions. I would ask before we get to that section that if you have a question, just hold it, write it down, remember it, so we can keep this thing moving along because we do have a time limit. Also, I would like to introduce my wife, Gina Holcomb. With her, she has some Texas Carry stickers and some Texas Carry pins if anybody's interested. Also, we have some flyers up here that talks about our organization, and I'm pleased with the work that we've done. I hope you will consider becoming a member tonight. First of all, Texas Carry believes that if we work with community and law enforcement and bring the CHLs together hand in hand, we will see the new gun law that's going to be coming forth to go off extremely flawlessly. We also believe through education and relationships, we can make the gun community stronger with the non-gun community. It is all about education and relationships, and Texas Carry proved that in the '84 session. So Texas Carry is being a beacon of light through education and relationship building, and tonight we are going to cover 4 areas. We're going to cover knife preemption. We're going to talk about what is it and how does it impact you. We're going to talk about 30-06 state preemption, or it's better known as unlawful exclusion of a CHL holder by a governmental entity. We're going to, and if I'm not talking loud enough, let me know. I got a preacher's voice. I can get it out there. Okay. We're going to talk about campus carry. And I know everybody showed up for open carry, which is why I put it last.
He's a preacher.
All right, as we're going through this, I'm going to give you something very important, and they're called effective dates. Typically, when the legislature passes a bill, 90+% of them go into effect September 1st. Well, they must have had some extra gin before they went into session on some of this stuff because they are all over the map. And it's very important that you know the effective date. Pun intended, I don't want anybody jumping the gun and getting ahead of the law, or you will find yourself in significant trouble, okay? So for knife preemption, the effective date for knife preemption is September 1st, 2015. They actually got that one right. So HB 905 was filed by Representative Dutton. HB 905 is commonly called the Knife Preemption Bill. So what is knife preemption? Well, very simply put, it is displacement of all local and municipalities and/or counties' knife laws by Texas knife laws. The state is assuming sole authority of all knife laws in Texas. This was added as part of Local Government Code 229.001, which is often referred to as state preemption of firearms. Now we've brought knives in that realm. So what does HB 905 say? And let me say this, folks. I copy straight from the law. That's just the way I like doing it. That way there's no room for misunderstanding. So you can see the word knives is underlined there. The rest of the language was existing language. This was just added to it. Notwithstanding any other law, including Section 43.002 of this code and Chapter 251 of the Agriculture Code, a municipality may not adopt regulations relating to the transfer, private ownership, keeping, transportation, licensing, or registration of firearms, air guns, or knives. They added knives. And then again in Section 236.002, notwithstanding any other law, including Chapter 251 Agriculture Code, a county may not adopt regulations relating to the transfer, private ownership, keeping, transportation, licensing, registration of firearms, air guns, or knives. Again, knives was added. Are there exceptions to knife preemption? And this is very, very important. This may be the most important thing I cover, other than just telling you the fact that the state's taking the knife laws. With firearms, the state does give cities and counties some leeway to regulate some things. firearms in city parks and county parks and things like that. The state can actually regulate that. They can't regulate CHL holders, but they can regulate firearms in certain areas as the state has given them. That's what we call a carve-out. The only carve-out that was granted for knife laws is right here, and many people aren't going to even know that this was in here. It says that this subsection does not affect the authority a municipality has under another law to regulate the use of firearm, air gun, or knives in the case of insurrection, riot, or natural disaster if the municipality finds the regulations necessary to protect the public health and safety. What's the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear that? New Orleans. Yep. Right? Major problems with that, and a lot of people don't even know that this is in the code. Fortunately, right underneath it, the state saw the error of its ways and later actually added this section. And it says the exception provided by B4, which I just read you, does not authorize the seizure or confiscation of any firearm, air gun, knife, or ammunition from an individual who is lawfully carrying or possessing the firearm, air gun, knife, or ammunition. So even if there's some type of riot or whatever's going on, if you're lawfully carrying your firearms or your other arms, they can't confiscate them from you. This is the only carve-out. There are no other carve-outs. Okay? And this is going to be important, and we'll talk about why in a minute. So since the state is now taking all knife laws, I thought it would be a good idea to look at what the state says about the knife laws. First of all, it gives us a definition. Knife means any bladed hand instrument that is capable of inflicting serious bodily injury or death by cutting or stabbing a person with the instrument. I do have the definition of switchblade there. The reason I put that there is I just want you to know that switchblades are legal in Texas. It just can't be a double-bladed switchblade. It can't, because that falls under the classification of dagger. Okay? So what is an illegal knife? And I don't know why they use the term illegal knife, because you're going to find out in a minute it's not exactly illegal. So an illegal knife means a knife with a blade over 5 1/2 inches. So you can have a knife that has a blade that is 5 1/2 inches or shorter. That is the blade, that's not the hilt. A hand instrument designed to cut or stab another by being thrown. So Chinese stars, and they actually make throwing knives. That's what they're designed for. A dagger, which is a double-sided blade. Okay. A sword. I'm devastated that we all can't go wear our swords out to Walmart. And most importantly, spear. You have to wonder how some of this stuff got in here. I've actually tried to research why spear was put in here, and I couldn't find it. Now, understanding when a knife is unlawfully possessed. In section 46.02, which we're going to read a lot tonight, unlawful carrying of weapons says a person commits an offense if the person intentionally, knowingly, or recklessly carries on or about his or her person, a handgun, illegal knife, there it is, or club, if the person is not on their own premises or premises under their control, or inside or directly en route to a motor vehicle or a watercraft that they own or is under their control. It's not illegal to own that list that I showed you a while ago. You can have them in your house, you can purchase them, you can have them in your car, and you do not have to conceal them. You just can't take them out and go walk into Walmart with them. Academy actually sells daggers. You can go into Academy, you can buy a dagger, and you can walk from Academy to your car. But if you go to Walmart after you leave Academy and you put that on your hip, you have now broken the law. Ownership is not unlawful. So what is the purpose of knife preemption? Why did the state feel it necessary? Well, the purpose of knife preemption is to eliminate the patchwork of laws that we had across the state. It also brings, and I believe most importantly, brings the entire state into compliance with Article 1, Section 23 of the Texas State Constitution, which clearly states that the legislature is the only one that can regulate the wearing of arms. Knife has been an arm ever since the beginning of time when knives started getting made. This is no different. A knife and a gun are both an arm. And so this law brings us into compliance with our own state constitution. There were also differing laws from city to city and county to county, which were causing a lot of confusion and causing a lot of headache. And I'll give you an example. We have a lot of knife users in here. I know I'm in Montgomery County. I know where I'm at, okay? So how many people would think it's a real good idea to use a pocket knife that doesn't lock? San Antonio, in their infinite wisdom, thought it would be a smart thing to outlaw locking blade knives. Corpus Christi. Corpus Christi said you could not have a knife that was longer than 3.5 inches. So you could cross city to city, county to county, and be breaking 14 laws and never even know it and get in all kinds of trouble at the worst possible time. So it became necessary to bring this under state preemption. Now, before I take any questions here, I'm going to ask a question because I actually think knife preemption is going to be more controversial than open carry. And I have the right target audience in here right now. Where do we see this being an immediate problem? Courthouses. The state has not deemed courthouses off limits for knives, and counties and cities can't.
Thanks for that.
I don't have to leave it in my car anymore.
So, we expect there's going to be lots of fun with this one, guys. Let me just say this. If we find an area that is not abiding by the state laws, it's better to contact us, okay, instead of, really, we have activists who know, we know what we're doing, we know how to do it professionally, respectfully, to get the job done. You don't want to go to jail. It's not fun, trust me. I've been there, done it, no good. So just contact us through email, go to our website. My cards are up here as well today. You call them, you will get a call back, and we'll work with the local government to try and bring them in compliance with the state law, okay? Now I'll take questions on knife preemption.
And you can still get a legal, if you have a legal knife, like if you accidentally take it into like a TSCJ prison or a county jail, can they still arrest you?
Very much so.
I mean, when does that knife preemption come into place with jail sites and correctional facilities?
Yeah, and I don't have that law posted, but there are places that that are prohibited weapons, period.
Okay.
And I don't have that code with me today. Yes, sir.
What's the regulation for fixed blade compared to cold knives, as long as they're only one edge?
What, 5.5 inches, it doesn't matter. As long as it's a single edge blade, 5.5, it can be as long up to 5.5 inches. Whether it folds, locks, doesn't matter. Whether it's a fixed blade, 5.5 inches is the max. I'm afraid hatchets fall under the throwing one. We were this close to eliminating all knife laws in Texas. No, seriously, and y'all are going to find it amusing. What happened? 2 Democrats got mad at each other and started whacking each other's bills. But the bill had passed through the House on local and consent unanimously. It was set on the Senate for local and consent. 2 Democrats got mad at each other, started killing each other's bills, and that's one of them that got killed. It would have passed as well unanimously. So, yes, sir.
So any size knife on any of your property, like your home and in your vehicle?
Yes, there are no limits on your home and in your vehicle.
Including no edge.
Doesn't matter. There are no limits. Yes, sir.
What about bayonets, Terry?
What about them?
Where do they fall in the statute?
Huh?
Isn't it a bayonet more of a dagger?
Yeah, a bayonet would be considered a type of dagger. It's going to fall under knife. But there's some exclusions for those with black powder.
That's what I was wondering.
What about hatchets and machetes and sharpening tools like that you use in the field?
You can still use those, and you can even transport them to and fro. There's exceptions for that, yes, sir.
And you can go off your property with it?
Mm-hmm.
I got to cut down a neighbor's tree, I can take...
That is correct.